here I'm going to show you how to use shading to create value within an object and make it look three-dimensional. So here we have a value scale. The top one blends seamlessly from dark to light, and then the bottom one is broken up into each individual value. For the purposes of my class, and there are two pencils in your pencil box. One is a yellow 2HB pencil, and the other one is an ebony pencil. Now, I want you to draw the value scale like this top image with both the yellow pencil and your ebony pencil. Make sure that your darkest areas get as dark as you can possibly make them. So that may mean starting vertically at first and then shading horizontally to get inside those little grooves, and even going diagonally, and then eventually you're going to shade it so it's nice and smooth like you see here in this top one, all the way out to get as light as each of those pencils will go. And so as you do that and as you finish it, I want you to notice which pencil makes a darker mark and which pencil makes a lighter mark. The 2HB pencil, the traditional yellow pencil that came in your box, is actually going to have a lighter value because it's a harder lead. And then the ebony pencil is going to make the best dark value because it's a softer lead. It'll get one of the nicest crisp blacks that you can get using a lead pencil. From here, we're going to look at how to shade a cube first. So here's an example I found online. You start with the lightest area. So here, the light source is kind of coming from the top left. So we have the lightest value on top, and then the darkest side is opposite the light source. So it's here on the right side, and then the medium value is here on the left. And what I want you to really notice is that there are no dark outlines between this. The two values have met to make that edge. So it's not necessary to have a dark coloring book outline because your two values should meet to create that edge. Now in this image, I would like to see some more contrast so that the dark was even darker and the medium was a little bit darker as well, just to make the cube pop up off the page. So if you are absent, take a minute to draw your own cube and practice that. Just press pause. We're going to go ahead and move on to a sphere. In this image of a sphere that I just found on Google, it's got really nice contrast. So that means the difference between light and dark. So the darks are really dark and the lights are really light. So when you're first shading that sphere, the first thing you want to find is the highlight, and that is right here. Now with the highlight though, it's important to note that when you have your circle, the highlight does not touch the edge of the circle like this. Okay? It does not do that. That's a big no-no. It is actually in the middle of the sphere, and the medium value surrounds that. So technically, we would have the light value here, the medium value would be all in there, and this would be all the darkest value. So that's kind of the generic crescent shape that you would have on a sphere to make sure it still looks round. The second thing you need to make sure that you have is the shading. And so that is located here with the medium and dark values. Again, in that crescent shape. The reflected light is this little light value right here on the very bottom edge of the sphere. And that is actually the light bouncing back up off the counter or the table onto the sphere. And so what that does is it's going to create that edge between the sphere and the cast shadow. So number 4 is the cast shadow, and that's this dark area down here opposite the light source. And so with that reflected light edge, when you shade this, it's now going to create that round edge of the sphere. If we just made the shadow and the shade meet, we would lose that bottom edge, and then the whole thing would look like one big blob like this. And that's not what our goal is. Our goal is to make it look like a rounded sphere on a flat surface. And then number 5 is the back shading, and that's all of this in the background, kind of above the surface of the counter or the table that it's sitting on. That back shading is really going to add some more contrast and make the sphere look like it's popping off the page. We do that because the light value and the medium value are going to be up right around this edge here, and so we don't we don't want that to blend in too much up with the paper if you're on white paper. So you want to make sure that that is able to stand out. And then you want to make sure that, like in this area here, if there's still dark on the sphere, that the back shading is a little bit lighter so that, again, we can still define the edge of that sphere. You never want to have the same value touching on the edge of any object. So if that means that you have to take artistic liberty and darken something up a little bit more or lighten it up just a little bit more to make it more believable within your drawing, then that's what I want you to do. The next object that we're going to do in the final one is a cylinder. So this has the light source kind of coming from the top left. So the top flat side is the same value. It does not blend from light to dark. And then what we have, because these are flat sides up and down, is the value changes as it goes across, but it's all completely vertical. So we have the dark, the medium, more medium, and the light are all vertical. It does not transition in a curved manner, right? So we're not shading dark to light this way. So notice how when the light source is on the side, we still have a little bit of medium there, and then it hits light, and then medium, and then dark. Okay. The other way to do this is if you have the cylinder and then the light source is kind of more in the middle, so you'd still have your lightest value here, right? So it'd be L for light. And then you're actually going to end up having dark value here, and it's going to transition into light in the middle. So these are darks, and then these would be medium and light in the middle. So you would gradually blend your values together to create those values as well. So it's a smooth transition. It looks a little bit different. So some of the key things that we'll use for cylinders, your fingers are cylinders, right? Soda cans are cylinders. The cord, any cord or wire, like your headphones, your headphone cords are cylinders. They're not just straight lines, and so you really need to know how to use and define a cylinder. Glass, vases, all of those are cylinders. So really make sure you understand this concept. Now here are two examples from a student that drew this last year, was in the same class, and the original drawing is the one on the right. And I went in and photoshopped the back shading on the one on the left to make it completely black. And I did that because I felt like this little white, well, dark halo here was more of a distraction, and I thought that it took away from the beautiful shading that was going on within the piece. And so when you look at the left picture and how the shading is nice and black all the way up, it allows there to be more contrast, and the focus can really be on the beautiful drawing itself and not just this black outline around the whole thing. It's the exact same picture. All I did was Photoshop a black background, just the same, like maybe dark spot all the way over the entire thing. So it's not like I have manipulated her pencil drawing at all. I just added the black in a few different little areas, even down here. And it really made such a big difference. And so I want you to see that so you understand how to use back shading. It doesn't need to be just a halo, but you need to take into consideration the entire background as well. So I hope that helps and that you've learned something. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.